So welcome to the Stitchery here in Port Moody. I'm Jill, and I'm going to take about 15 minutes of your time this morning, like I do every Thursday morning, to share what's new and exciting here with us, both in our shop and sometimes what's going on in our studio classroom, and share a cup of tea with you. Hi Jen. And yeah, just connect and maybe answer some of your questions too. Can't put the tea down. Okay, so this morning I thought I would start with a couple of new exciting Made in Canada things for you. So we've got a new collection by Brett Lewis. I really enjoyed meeting him at Quilt Canada. Lovely guy, and I don't know if you've ever seen any of his social media, but he is really passionate about what he can share with the quilting community. So we're super excited to have some of his new collection in. You can see, let me turn this a little bit, you can see a little bit there. This quilt here is from his previous collection, Water's Edge, and his newest collection is a little bit different, and the tones are much softer than what we've seen, but it's still that lovely focus on nature. And so let me pull a few of these. This is Ornithology, and I think this is going to be a popular one. I love watching the swallows down at Rocky Point, and so we've got these beautiful designs here, and I'm just going to hold up some of these quilting cottons for you. And the tones they're very different, but the little illustrations, the details in the birds. Here's one of the blenders, but it's not your average blender. Can you see the lovely birds in that? I hold it up. He's so pretty. And some of the vibes I'm getting are a little bit of those older, Liberty Prince classic kind of medallion layouts and things, but with a real modern flair, which is kind of fun. This is one of my favorites. Kind of thinking what I could do with these. The beautiful little swallows. And then this is the main feature print, which I think you'll agree is quite unique. Have you ever seen pheasants? I don't know where pheasants live in Canada. Yeah, you're right, Shona. It has a bit of a Morris feel. He has a kind of a style that ties into some of these, but pheasants run low to the ground and they dart across the country road, and you have to watch that you don't squish them. And then one more lovely blender. And the colors are a bit different. We'll have to put together maybe a little fat quarter bundle of these or something. But that's Ornithology by Brett Lewis, born here in BC, now in Alberta. And then one more Made in Canada thing. Andrea is not someone that I have managed to meet yet because she's away on the other side of the country in Nova Scotia, where my best friend lives, but hopefully one day. But she's come out with a new book called Quilting, with a lovely quilted cover. This is more for nerds like me. If you're really into quilting, this is part sort of personal journey and part exploration into quilting. So there are projects in here, but it's a little bit of a different approach. There are essays about why quilts and personal reflections and things. So if you're looking for something different, if you're kind of stuck with what you're doing and you maybe want to try something new, I think you'll find this a really interesting book. It has a very different approach to quilting, and it has some I think she calls them quests. It's called A Modern Creative Journey Through an Age-Old Craft, and she calls them quests, and it's a different way to approach the art of quilting. So if you're stuck and looking for something to try different, or if you're new and you just want to kind of explore what modern quilting might be all about, we've got a few copies of this for the nerds in our community, so come look that up. It's Quilting by Andrea Sang Jackson. So, Made in Canada. Okay, let's put that over there. What else have I got for you this morning? Some funky new prints from Ruby Star. This one is going really fast, even though it's only been on the shelves. So who likes capybaras? And to be honest, who would draw capybaras on their fabric? Rashida Coleman Heel, obviously, and in wonderful Ruby Star colors, and I can totally see a pair of pajamas in this. Don't know about you. But the Ruby Star quilting cotton base, I think I've mentioned before, has a little bit more of a drape to it, so it's a great crossover fabric as well, for quilting as well as garments. So we've got the really fun capybaras with the little birds, little tiny birds resting on them, and then we've got, I want to call him Sid the snail. Isn't he adorable? Is he upside down? No, he's going different directions. That's okay. And these two prints are Ruby Star prints, and they are called Animal, and these are up on the website, I think. Maybe. I think so. I think I got them up there. But they're fun, and as always, in those gorgeous Ruby Star colors. What else have we got? Okay, we've got a new quilt pattern designer, new for us. No, I can't remember her name. Nope, can't remember her name. But it's Cotton and Joy Quilts, and we've got, I'm going to start with the beginner friendly patterns. I'm just going to flash them up here. There's some really fun, anyone who's into books, beginner friendly patterns. Stars are my thing, so this is probably where I'd start. And then squared up if you're looking for something that's a really fast make that's going to really show off your prints as well. If you have some of those favorite prints and you want a quilt pattern that really features them, and then a couple for more confident beginners or those with a bit more skills and want to try something. And this one is really only in confident beginner because it's got bias cut edges on it, and that's not really scary. I mean, it's not so scary for me as a garment maker, but if it's scary for you as a quilter and you want some tips, come and ask us, because we've done bias edges and we can give you lots of good tips on that, like using your easy press or your starch, and things like that. How not to stretch out your bias cut edges. And then somebody who wants to try curves, I think this is a beautiful pattern. I'm trying to remember what copyright is. Ah yes, it's the National Flower of Chile. So that lovely pattern there. And then if you are also into hand stitching, she has designed some cross stitch patterns based on some of her quilt patterns. So we brought some of these in as well. Oops. And so we've got 3 various cross stitch patterns there for you to as well to have a wee look at. So that's Cotton and Joy, and I believe all of those are up already on the website if you want to explore those. All right, couple of other things for you, and then I'm going to answer a question. We've got some upcoming classes that we just added. If you didn't see the newsletter, we're doing an A-line skirt class. We've had a lot of requests for how to sew an invisible zipper into garments. And so if you want to try sewing an invisible zipper, this is a relatively good, easy skirt. We're not going to do the fancy ones. We're going to do the real simple one with an invisible zipper in it. So you get this lovely A-line flattering style skirt, and you learn how to put in invisible zippers. That class is for you. And then we haven't quite got it up yet, but we're working on dates for the drop zone pattern, which I know has been popular. If you've never tried a quilted bag or quilted project, like not a quilt but actually making something out of quilted fabric, Biani patterns are fantastic, and this class will be great for anyone who hasn't tried Biani techniques before and wants to have a go, or just wants to learn about zippers. And it's actually really cool. It's a zipper pouch, but when you open it up, it lays flat like a tray, so it's great for like going on retreats and bringing all your wonder clips or your toiletries or something like that, because it opens up and it makes this flat little easy access tray. So we're going to be adding a class for this, and it's going to start from actually making your quilted fabric all the way through the project. So that one, keep an eye out for that if that interests you, or if you have questions. Okay, 2 things left. We've got 1 week left to vote for us in the Biani local quilt shop contest, and we're this close. I didn't check this morning actually. Christy, did you check this morning? Don't know how close we are.
Well, we were about 9 people away from officially qualifying.
Last night, yes. Last night we were 9 votes away from getting the minimum 50 votes that we needed to be in the contest, I guess, to actually qualify to be in the contest. So if you feel like voting for us before the end of the month, local quilt shop contest, it's LQS localquiltshopcontest.com, so for local quilt shop contest, and we have a little QR code. I don't know if it works, but I'm going to hold it up there. If anyone's watching the replay, you can try pausing that and snapping that. I don't know if that works. Let me know. So please vote for us and let us know if we're your favorite quilt shop. We'd love to know. We enjoy getting the votes. Christy's doing a yay over there. And one other thing that I wanted to try on Tea with Jill is to answer some of your questions. And so this morning I have a question that we've been asked that I thought I would just give you an answer to, and that is, what is interfacing and why on earth do we use it? So I'm going to take 2 minutes to just share a really quick overview of some of the wide world of interfacing. So here's one. I've got a pile of interfacing here. So interfacings come in all different types and weights and stiffnesses, but they're either adding structure or stability to your project. So they're going to be heavily used in bag making and garments, and then in something like the drop zone, like in quilting, you're maybe using a foam stabilizer interfacing. Basically, it's an internal layer. So they come in fusible, which is like has glue on one side or two sides, so you can glue it on, or sew in. And they come in a lot of different weights. The main ones will probably come across. These are not so handy. We've got a little cheat sheet cards for reference cards in store if you have questions. But the main ones you're gonna come across are your non-woven and your woven interfacings. And I don't know if this is going to show up, but a non-woven essentially is more like a sort of fused product that doesn't have a weave in it. It will add a bit of crispness usually to your project, and it will come in weights from like lightweight through to heavyweight, depending on how much crispness and structure you need. Whereas a woven interfacing, which will come in sew-in and fusible, has a weave to it. I don't know if this is showing up at all. Again, it comes in those various weights, but it tends to preserve the hand or the handle of the fabric, so it doesn't add the crispness so much as the stability that you need and that extra layer, but it keeps the drape of the fabric. So it's often used a lot more in garment making. Like if I'm doing something out of the Liberty and I have like a collar or a button stand or a pocket or something that just needs a little bit of stability or strength, extra strength, I'll use a lightweight woven interfacing. So it really will usually depend on your fabric, and then you can get into things like this is a tricot interfacing, which has one-way stretch on it. So this is the sort of stuff that I use for my wool fabrics, because it stops the wool from relaxing down, so it doesn't let your coat sort of start sagging, but it allows the wool to have the give around the body this way, while still giving it strength and stability. So you can get into all sorts of specialty ones, and you can get it like super heavy, still flexible, still washable, but like really crisp. You can make fabric postcards out of this and mail them to people. We use this Peltex for the little bowls that we make. Yeah, does that answer the question? Does anybody have? Yeah, I've got an audience here this morning. So that was like a really brief interfacing introduction. Yeah, as to how, why, and what. It's a big world, and there's lots of options, and we're here to help. So let us know your questions. Let us know how we can help answer them, and we'll be looking for more questions. So if you're watching this, even if you're watching the replay, in the comments, if you have a question that I can answer on Tea with Jill, that you're like, I don't know why I do this, or I don't know why I was asked for this, or whatever, let me know, or send us an email and let me know some questions that I can answer here on Tea with Jill and give you some tips and advice on your sewing and quilting journey. Okay, that's everything for Tea with Jill this morning. Please, if you think and you want to let us know if we're your favourite quilt store, please vote for us and send in your questions and sign up for a class and come sew with us. We're excited to make